An ambitious goal for Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass when she says she hopes to have all the homeless off LA streets. And profiling LA heroes, the new docuseries that follows some Los Angeles County firefighters and a big name in the TV business behind it. You're watching The Rundown. I'm Adrian Arambulo in for Robin Winston. More on those stories in just a moment. First, though, hundreds of thousands of people across the U.S. observed Juneteenth commemorating the end of slavery. It was 1863 when President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation freed slaves, but it wasn't until June 19th, 1865 that the proclamation was enforced in Texas. Fast forward to 2021 when President Biden signed a bill to proclaim Juneteenth a federal holiday, and now generations of families and communities get together to remember the history behind Juneteenth. Vice President Kamala Harris appearing at a Juneteenth celebration at the Greek Theater in Griffith Park. Among the performers at the one-of-a-kind concert, Miguel, Chloe Bailey, and Nelly. President Biden is making a California visit for several fundraisers. The president is starting to do more events for his 2024 presidential campaign. On Saturday in Philadelphia, he held his first major political rally since announcing his bid for re-election. During his visit to the Bay Area, he is touring the coastal wetlands and announcing plans to spend $600 million to fight climate change.
If he really wants to make this into an electoral issue, he should. I think it's a winning one because of how concerned so many people are. I mean, I think it's 72 or 73% of the people in California think that climate is an urgent issue.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also raising funds in Northern California. LA Mayor Karen Bass says she would like to have all homeless people off the streets of LA by the end of her term in 2026. Now, she was asked about a timeline during an interview on CNN.
There'll still be people in shelters and interim housing, but to at least not have people dying on our streets. 2,000 people died last year. What we really need, because homelessness is such a huge problem now, is a system of long-term interim housing.
The mayor recently announced that during her first 6 months of office, her team has helped move 14,000 people off the streets. And the polls are now open for the June 27th runoff election to replace former LA City Councilwoman Nury Martinez, community advocate Imelda Padilla, and Marissa Alcaraz, who is City Councilman Curran Price's top advisor, are the two candidates vying for the open seat. Martinez resigned last October after a racist audio recording was leaked. District 6 covers Panorama City, Van Nuys, North Hollywood, Lake Balboa, Arleta, North Hills, and Sun Valley. You can vote in person at the centers in Panorama City or Van Nuys, or you can vote by mail. Let's get a check of your work week forecast with meteorologist Belen de Leon.
Here's something we haven't seen in a while, a wind advisory. We're starting off the work week with strong winds for the mountains and deserts. This advisory in effect until 11 p.m., where gusts could get up to 50 miles per hour. Those winds are strong enough to blow around any loose objects and also cause some difficult travel conditions, so you've been warned. Now, the weather the rest of the week will be below normal for this time of year because we have this dip in the jet stream that's going to be affecting the west coast, so that allows some cooler temperatures for our area. There will be a little fluctuation through the middle of the week. The temperatures rise a tad. Then by the second half of the week, the numbers come back down because of another dip in the jet stream. Here's what that looks like when it comes to your temperatures. In Riverside, we'll have 79 to start off the work week. Sunshine in 80s Tuesday and Wednesday. Then cool again Thursday and Friday. Back up again over the weekend when temperatures rise again into the 80s.
Well, police are looking for the gunman who shot and injured 8 people at a house party. 2 of those 8 victims are in critical condition. Deputies were called to the area just before midnight Friday. They say there may have been a fight before that shooting started.
Absolutely shocked because this neighborhood is super quiet, nothing but people walking in the morning with dogs.
Right now, investigators are focused on finding that gunman and hoping that witnesses will come forward to help them out. And a passenger is describing his scary experience on board an Alaska Airlines flight from LAX to San Francisco. This happened last Friday when the plane was landing.
It was awful. All of a sudden, the most abrupt maneuver occurred in which the front of the airplane, the nose of the airplane, just went way up. And the jets went full force. At that very second that it started, the lights went out.
Now, all of that happened within a minute, but Avery Lieberman says it felt like an eternity. The pilot told passengers there was an issue with air traffic control and that they had to do what's called a go-around. Alaska Airlines is responding, saying the go-around was a safety precaution because of congestion on the tarmac. The future of BB Rexha's North American tour is up in the air after the singer and songwriter suffered an injury on stage. So check out this video here from the concert in New York City Sunday night. While walking toward the front of the stage, Rexha was hit in the face by a phone hurled at her from the audience. Crews quickly rushed her off stage. She had to get stitches for her injuries and did not come back for a meet and greet. That was supposed to happen after the concert. Our sister station in New York tells us that the 27-year-old man was taken into custody for throwing that phone. It's unclear if or when Rexha's tour will resume. The man behind the Chicago and Law & Order franchises on NBC is branching out into unscripted territory and turning the camera to the front lines of the LA County Fire Department. Here's NBC4's Jonathan Gonzalez.
Over here! Got a victim!
For a decade, the fictional tales of Firehouse 51 have been at the heart of NBC's Chicago Fire.
LA 16, go.
Now, Fire's executive producer Dick Wolf is focusing on the real-life heroes in LA Fire and Rescue.
Exciting, emotional, and personal.
Make sure primary, secondary is done.
And it basically follows us as we do our day-to-day job, responding to the public, to calls for emergencies.
Wolf's crews documented the work of several LA County fire stations.
It's called a fire factory for a reason.
For an up-close view of their reality.
Sometimes it's what happens behind the scenes or what happens after the emergency. It could be the emotional impact that it has on all of us.
The most access, strangely enough, they've given in 40 years, which was when emergency went off.
That TV series about fictional LA paramedics and firefighters was a Saturday night staple on NBC in the 1970s.
Keep going. Can you visualize the cords?
But the stories behind these LA County firefighters are all too real.
All right, go ahead and start CPR.
They care about people, and they reach out and they do things that are above and beyond what people usually do.
You can usually catch Dave Eigenberg on Chicago Fire, but he got the chance to hang out with the real-life heroes he portrays on TV over at Fire Station 16 in Compton.
What's the story with the gavel?
The gavel is, well, we do court here too, you know.
Okay. We have a lot of fire. Have you ever been on trial?
No.
These are some great people. When you look, you see all the years of service. You can see sometimes in their eyes, in their faces, in their bodies, the things that they've been through. It takes a toll, and they're special human beings.
And in a county of 4 million people,
Get it open, we don't know if anyone's in there.
stretched across 2,300 square miles.
84 Captain, 84 Engineer on B10.
This department sees a bit of everything.
It's critical that we jump on these very, very quickly and keep them from turning into a large campaign fire.
It's pure drama.
This checks all the boxes.
Without the script.
NBC LA Fire and Rescue, man, what better people to work with, and you know, they treat us with respect, and it's a pleasure to represent LA County Fire Department and Fire Station 16, my home.
Greatest job in the world.
The docuseries LA Fire and Rescue premieres Wednesday at 8 o'clock on NBC4. The self-titled demo tape that Prince used to land his first recording contract is up for auction. It contains unreleased versions of the songs Just As Long As We're Together and My Love Is Forever, as well as the never-released Jelly Jam. Prince was just 18 years old when he recorded the tracks, and he wrote and arranged and performed all of them. A fan favorite and global phenomenon show is preparing for a big return. Netflix has dropped the new trailer for the second season of the South Korean thriller Squid Game. It's going to be big. Four iconic South Korean actors are going to be joining the new season. Fan favorites Lee Jung-jae and the frontman will also be making a comeback. The second season will be released next year. Has some big shoes to fill. Squid Game's first season pulled in 1.6 billion hours of viewing in less than a month. Two movie releases were supposed to kick off the summer blockbuster season, but they fell short of expectations.
I created a world with no metahumans, and now there's no one to defend us.
A disappointing debut for The Flash over the weekend. It hauled in an estimated $55 million, but a far cry from the $75 to $85 million that industry experts were expecting. Elemental didn't bring in big audiences either, with $29.5 million. Both of those movies were pricey projects costing about $200 million to make. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse rounded out the top three. With school out for the summer, parents need to find ways to keep their children entertained, but one young girl near Kansas City created her own summer job. Caroline Hogan introduces us to the Little Librarian.
Once upon a time, in a land far from Kansas City,
Don't put your horse in the bathtub? Why not?
there lived a girl who loved to read.
Well, every single minute of every single day, really.
She did not walk until 18 months, but she was practically reading by then.
When Abby O'Neill first discovered little free libraries, she knew she wanted her own.
There are chapter books for like teenagers, and then there's grown-up books.
And when Shamrock Cabinets in Raytown heard about this chapter in her life, they wanted to be part of the story.
This is a special little girl. She's very driven.
When we're going somewhere, we usually pull in here to straighten the books. Sometimes if I have the stamp, stamp them. If they're not stamped.
Right. Of course, it needed its own grand opening, planned and hosted by Abby.
So she brought snacks for everyone and invited the whole neighborhood. She went door to door, handing out flyers she made, inviting people. She wrote a speech. She cut a ribbon.
The smile and the hug and the card that I received from her is just like the greatest payment I'll ever get.
I felt like I was super special to have somebody build me a free little library.
And it's not just for her. It's for everyone.
Just such a phenomenal lesson for a 7-year-old that if you pour out into the people in your community, people are going to pour back into you as well.
So come one, come all. The Little Free Library's doors are open for business.
I just want it to be everywhere. Free little libraries everywhere in every state in different places.
The Bay Area family celebrated their dad's 100th birthday in a very special way. His party was dedicated to dogs over the weekend. Robert Moore turned 100 years old, and that called for a dog parade in front of his house in San Jose. Moore loves dogs, so his family rallied the community to surprise him. More than 200 dogs and their owners came by to wish Moore happy birthday. His daughters say that he could not have been happier, having every single furry friend.
This is probably the biggest thing that's happened in our family. That's given us the most joy.
They were mostly strangers. They were. And it makes you feel wonderful about your community, that people would come out and do that for your dad that you love so much. And it was really special.
In addition to the pet parade, people brought gifts, cards, and flowers, making it a possum day. I wonder if Mr. Moore's arm's tired from shaking all those paws. All right, you can always get news and weather updates on the NBCLA app and on our website, NBCLA.com. And be sure to tune in to Today in LA on NBC4. Weekdays from 4 to 7 a.m., that's where we bring you all the day's headlines. Thanks again for watching The Rundown.